folks, Ariel over here at Fineth. Welcome to spring in Wyoming. In fact, we're having a very, very early spring this year. Normally the snow would not be off most of the ground yet, but we had such a low snow year that when we got a few warm days, most of it melted. And now it's been snowing again for, I forget if we're on day 5 or day 6 of this storm now, where it will come down enough that everything turns white, and then the sun will come out for a minute and it'll melt, and then it'll turn white again and melt, and back and forth. You get the idea. It was all white earlier, then it melted. Now it's snowing pretty good again. For those of you who worried you'd never see another hand splitting video, it still does not make any sense to fire up the lovely big log splitter for the tiny house firewood. So I'm going to chat with you while we do that. But the main point of this video is actually supposed to be a little duck update. And I know somebody's going to tell me how to do this so I don't have to bend over. How else am I supposed to stay flexible and get my yoga practice in? Anyway, the ducks, haven't done an update on them for a while. Since I want them to walk around in the video, they probably won't. I thought about trying to sit down and pose and talk with them, but they're not really into cuddling with me. So I decided to just split wood and talk to you instead. Figured they'd be happier with it. Oh, and Burley found a beautiful stick. Well, that's barely big enough for me to throw. You really, really want that one? Really much? The ducks. So I think the last time I did an update on them was quite a while ago. We did figure out what we had. Catching you up a little if you haven't been following the duck saga. We got 15 ducklings last spring. The hope was to have about half girls, half boys. Keep one drake, one male, to be able to give us the ability to re-raise our own ducklings. Keep all the girls to lay lots of eggs, and put the extra boys in the freezer and figure out if we can raise duck that we enjoy eating, because we know we like duck eggs. Then we had a big raccoon that kind of messed with our plans there, and he got in before we had their nice coop set up over there that you've seen in many videos. The ducks tend to sleep out in the yard. They just prefer that. They're very hardy creatures. Part of the reason got them. Ducks in general are very hardy. Blue Swedish in particular are from a cold part of the world, of course. And the chickens sleep up on the perches in the barn. Anyway, nothing has yet successfully gotten into that coop and caused a problem. If you're wondering about that big raccoon, we did trap him that one night in one of those live traps. By morning, he had folded the steel door in half and torn his way out. And he had definitely injured himself in some manner or another doing that, because I could find a little trail of blood drips. This thing's like the size of a small bear. It's the biggest coon I've ever seen a picture of. Oh, you did find your beautiful, nice little tiny stick. Anyway, I've never seen anything be able to fold the metal door of one of those live traps in half and pull it off. Anyway, he did. So I don't know if he was injured and went off somewhere and died, or if we just hurt his feelers so badly by trapping him that he never wanted to come back, or if, now this is probably one big enough. I should have used the log splitter on it. I can switch to my bigger splitting maul. Or if he went somewhere else and somebody else disposed of him, because we weren't the only people that had problems with him. He charged our one neighbor on their porch one night about the same time, and so on. Or if he just decided this was a really bad place to look for food because he didn't like getting in that trap. I don't know. All I know for sure is he hasn't been back here. I kept a game camera on the coop. He was definitely not back. Definitely never got in. Definitely didn't kill any more of our critters. Don't know if he'll show back up someday or not. Anyhow, so he killed 10 of our 15 ducks. Then we had 5 left. And raccoons are one of the few wild animals I know that other than wolves that will sometimes seem to slaughter just for the fun of it, not just what they want to eat, because he didn't even eat most of them. So we had 5 left. Took a while to figure out what the, genders we had. Now, best case scenario would have been to have 4 girls and a boy left. You know, out of 15, I was hoping for, 6, 7, maybe 8, if we got lucky, girls in the first place, and then keep 1 drake. We got the exact opposite of that. By the time their tails started to curl on the males, and I could tell for sure which was which, we had 4 boys, 1 girl, which was less than ideal, for sure. So they hung around all winter. For the first while, they hung around, all of them, because I hadn't figured out yet which ones were male and female. Then they hung around because we were busy, and they were kind of cute. I didn't feel like doing anything about it, and so on. But as we got towards spring here, and I knew this was going to happen, should have probably dealt with it earlier, the males were getting very, very aggressive with wanting to mate, and 4 boys to 1 girl is a very bad proportion for that. You want more like, I think ideally I've read like 8 to 1, at least 5 or 6 to 1, girls to boys, not more boys than girls. So it was becoming a problem. Mrs. Quack was getting beat up on, and all the Mr. Quacks were beating up on each other. It was becoming quite a ruckus where they would race around here, chasing each other, fluttering and flapping, and they were starting to even peck each other's necks bare, because they kind of fight by like pushing each other's necks down. I guess that's a duck dominance thing. Well, this end has got a few knots in it. And so it became pretty clear that we needed to do something about this situation. So we couldn't keep all 4 boys. I had actually tried earlier just separating them, and they all raised a hullabaloo because even more than fighting with each other, they didn't like being alone. Plus, there's no real practical reason, unless you're just going to have pet ducks, to keep that many males around. Man, I picked a good one to look tough while I'm running the video. Come on, Log. You're not being very impressive. Anyway, so this past weekend, we sent those 3 extra males to freezer camp. And the way we decided which one we were keeping is let Mrs. Quack pick. She had seemed to develop a favorite boyfriend that she spent more of her time with than the other guys, which meant the other 3 were spending all their time chasing each other in circles. So now we just have Mr. and Mrs. Quack. You probably can't even hear them quacking because they have been very peaceful since then. I think that was probably a bit of a relief for them. And we'll see. Mrs. Quack did start laying eggs, maybe a month ago now. One day there was an egg on the ground, and she has laid 1 big killdeer out there flying around. I've been hearing them for a while this spring. Killdeer, if you've never seen them, are a little bird that likes to flitter around the ground. They might be hard to see on the camera even if they're out there because they camouflage really well into grass. And we got kittens running around. River Zipper just went. Every day since she laid her first egg, she has laid 1 more. Nice big duck egg. Clay and I both liked duck eggs before. I used to get them from a friend who had chickens and ducks, and every now and then she'd have spare eggs. And there is a great blue heron flying over. I have not seen one of those yet this spring either. I don't know if it's going to make it into the camera, but they're a big bird. So we knew we liked duck eggs, and people ask how they taste. Ours, we honestly can't tell any difference at all in flavor from chicken eggs. Now, to be fair, our chickens and ducks basically live together, and for the most part, eat the same thing. They all free range, they all have access to the same feeders, so on. But a duck egg pretty much is just a really big chicken egg from our perspective. And so we're getting one of those a day. We're hoping that Mr. and Mrs. Quack will decide one day that they would like to be parents and maybe raise a new batch of little quacks, and we will have maybe some more female ducks around here finally. We'll have to see. But that is the update on the ducks. As far as how I feel about the duck experiment, oh yes, I can throw it. Bring it here, but you chewed it really little. It's really hard to throw now. I probably have more mixed feelings about it than I do about the chickens, and I think that may be largely the fault of the coon. Had we not lost all those, presumably we would have had more girls, and I might have felt different. The things I like about ducks, they are super hardy. They are out here in the snow. I don't know if they're in the camera right now, they're over there near the coop, but they piddle around here all day, no matter the weather. It can be 30 below, it can be dumping snow. They like to be outside, they like to go explore, they like to sleep outside. I tried making them sleep in the barn, they wouldn't have it, so I built them a little duck hut out in the yard. They don't like that either. They like to sleep in the snow. So that's what they get to do. So they're super hardy, which in our climate is very useful. They lay a very nice, big, rich egg, which the whole thing is, bigger than a chicken egg, but also in proportion to itself, there's more yolk and less white, which is good because a lot of the nutrition is in the yolk anyway. So we like that. They're easier from a hardiness perspective. People ask, I got a lot of questions about won't they just fly off. No, to the best of my knowledge, no breed of domestic duck can actually fly. I've seen them get up to fluttering a couple inches off the ground surface, but they're all too heavy bodied to like take off and fly south kind of thing. So with the yard fenced, they've never even tried to go over it. So they do love to explore all over in here. In the con column, so they're tougher in the cold than most things, but they need water. I mean, everything needs water to drink, but ducks also need water to drink. They don't have to have enough to swim in every day, as long as they can get their head into something to be able to, they gotta kind of clean out their nostrils. This is the knot that was giving me problems with trying to split the whole thing in the first place. That chunk might just get to stay that size. The problem is the ducks splash water. So chickens go up to water and very sedately dip their little beaks in it, take petite little sips, and walk away from it. Ducks are like, water! And splash it all over the place. So this creates a couple problems. It makes a lot of ice because when it's 0 or 10 or 20 or 30 below and something splashes water all over, it makes sheets of ice all over everything. Also, if you leave for a little bit, like if I go away for the day to clean a house, you come home and chickens have either drank their water or it's frozen solid in their water container. Ducks might have kept their water open because they do so much water, splashing, but they've splashed it all out and there's nothing left in the container. So that's kind of a headache in the cold. So I don't know, right now I'm still feeling like it's kind of a toss-up. Is the fact that they're super cold, hardy, and tough really nice in a cold area? Or is the fact that they're so messy with water more of a pain when you live in a cold area? I'm not sure. yet how I feel about that. If, for sure, if we had something like a, see, it doesn't even throw anymore. It's too little, baby boy. You chewed it too small. Like a pond or a river that was big enough to run without freezing all year that stayed open. And I wasn't worried about that giant coon coming back and they could just run around in that. There would be no work at all. Oh, one of the other pros is that unlike chickens who kind of lay their eggs as they're so inspired through the day, some will lay first thing in the morning, some in the afternoon, some not at night, but you know, until evening about this time of day. Ducks lay first thing in the morning. I don't actually know how early Mrs. Quack is laying her egg. It's always been long enough before whenever I get out of bed that it's already cold by the time I find it, which of course it's been really cold here, so it doesn't take an egg very long to cool off, so that might not be that long. But if you're wanting to let birds free range, I know that's one thing people like about ducks, since they supposedly all, and so far in our test subject of one female duck, this has been true, lay their eggs first thing in the morning. You can have ducks, have them in a coop overnight, have them all lay their eggs first thing in the morning, pick them up, let the ducks out to free range, and there's no chance you're going to have to go finding duck eggs hidden in hidey holes all over the place. Now our chickens have been pretty good at coming back and laying in their, it's really tiny, it is, in their nest boxes, but it's also been winter. We'll see if they start deciding that there's other funner places to lay eggs as it gets warmer. So that is a pro. So for now we have Mr. and Mrs. Quack, and we'll see what happens from there. If they produce more little quacks, if she decides to go broody, blue Swedish generally are good mothers. Of course, we only have one mother to have that be an option for. So we'll have to see. So I kind of have mixed feelings about that. On the other hand, if you want a pet, ducks are a lot of fun. They're messy and they can be noisy, but they kind of have fun personalities, and they're just funny to watch waddling around here. It's fun to watch how much pleasure they get out of splashing in water, or finding a mud puddle, or other things that don't necessarily look like so much fun if you're not a duck. So that's the duck update. We now have 2 ducks instead of 5. Maybe one day there will be more ducks. We are getting 1 big fat duck egg every day, and that's where we're at with that. And they are fun to watch, and they're fun to have around, and yeah, maybe I'll do another wood splitting video on thoughts about raising animals that you eat, because that's probably going to get to be too long of a topic for this one. Anyway, so that's the duck update. That's what's going on with ducks, and what is the current state of affairs there, and if we ever get little baby ducks, you will get to see them too, because they are awfully cute. Hope you guys are enjoying whatever version of spring you're having. We're having a pretty white one right now, which is lovely because we badly need the moisture around here. So that's it for now.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Come back next time for more adventures.
Thanks for watching.